Hi guys, welcome back. It's Colby.
And Asia.
And today we are here on Quarantine Couple Tips.
We're going to give you 5 tips on how to survive our next lockdown as a couple.
Because it's going to happen.
So one of the first tips that we have about surviving quarantine is to make it a point to spend intentional quality time with your partner. And by that, we mean don't just sit around watching Netflix or watching YouTube in your PJs and living like roommates.
Because you're in the same room doesn't mean you're spending time together. It just means you're spending time in the same room.
Together. Okay? You want to make sure that you take the time out to have intentional quality time with your partner. And by that, I mean you want to take the time to sit down, pick out what you guys want to do, where you guys are going to do it, what time you're going to do it, and actually put forth that effort like you would if you weren't stuck at home.
It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. We're not saying like plan some giant date night or anything. Mm-hmm. It's just, set the time aside to cook a meal together, play a game of Scrabble.
Maybe you guys pick out a series that you guys want to watch, and every Friday you watch an episode together and you sit down at 5 o'clock and you're like, we're going to watch this episode, no distractions, just me and you just comment back and forth about what you're watching. You don't want to just fall into this routine where you guys aren't treating your relationship like a relationship, because relationships are their work. Like, you have to put forth effort. I feel like a lot of times people got caught up in just like existing through quarantine, and you want to exist, definitely make sure you survive, but you want to survive with your partner and you want your relationship to survive. So take the time out, have some quality time with each other, and just focus on continuing to build your relationship as a couple. On the flip side, give your partner space. I know a lot of people during quarantine spend every last second with their partner. We can even relate. Mm-hmm. There were moments where we were up each other's butt.
Some people hear that and they're like, oh, that's not so bad. I love my partner. I love being with my partner. Think about what your normal day-to-day routine was before this all went down, and kind of tally up all the time you weren't with your partner. How often were they at work? How often were you at work? How often were they out with friends? You out with friends? So on and so forth. And you'll kind of realize that in most people's scenarios, you're not actually together all the time.
I feel like a lot of people got really intertwined with each other during quarantine. You want to make sure you're still separating time to do your hobbies and separate time for your partner to have their hobbies. It gives you time to grow individually outside of your partner, and when you grow and develop outside of your relationship, you're able to bring so much more to the table and to the partnership, and it's so much more fulfilling when you each have separate lives that you're living. So allow your partner that time to have space away from you, because everyone does need their own alone time, and it's good to find comfort in being alone so that you can continue to grow even during a time where you can't go outside or you may not be able to take walks and stuff. You can still grow mentally, and emotionally. There's always books, there's podcasts, there's YouTube. You can pick up a hobby that you can do at home, like gardening.
Don't think to be doing your own thing, you need to be, some people might say, oh, we live in a small apartment, there's nowhere I can go, they're not there. Just like we said in point 1, you could be in the same room and not be doing anything together. It sounds bad to say, but get on your phone, put in some headphones.
Yeah.
If you need the time, do what you got to do to get that time that doesn't involve compromising your health or your safety or so on and so forth.
Tip number 3: be understanding of your partner.
This is a difficult thing, so don't treat this as just something normal. It definitely is an impactful event. Expect that it's gonna take some adjustment, and some people will adjust faster than others. Mm-hmm. Be there for them without shaming or pressuring them.
We're going through a rough time right now. It's okay if you don't want to get up and brush your teeth at 8. If you brush your teeth at 3 o'clock, I'm cool with it. Right. This is such a wild time. Try to be understanding of your partner within reason. Obviously, if it's something that's causing them financial ruin or emotional distress, you should definitely step in and try to help out.
If they start doing stuff, maybe they're cutting more shortcuts. You know what? Maybe instead of when the dishwasher finishes and there's still dishes dirty, maybe they run the dishwasher again. Maybe they just don't feel like getting them all out washed all the time. Let them run the dishwasher again. It's okay. Let them take that shortcut.
Point number 4: learn how to handle conflict in a healthy way.
You're gonna fight. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen at some point. There are gonna be things you didn't notice before that now are gonna seem so compounded. They're gonna seem so much bigger than they ever would have. And that's inevitably gonna lead to conflict. But just like everything else, the rules of engagement have changed. You know,
Right.
war has changed.
Yeah. You've got to find a new way to deal with issues that doesn't include running off and slamming a door or yelling at your partner
Right.
or throwing things, because you're in close quarters. It's not like you can just run away and leave.
Right. You know, it's like that trope you see on like sitcoms and stuff. The person walks out and slams the door and they come in and is like, I just realized I live here. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah, like there's no point in letting anything fester to the point of blowing up, because you're literally stuck inside.
Right.
Do you want to be stuck inside in a bad mood with a sour partner looking crappy?
It's going to be hard, but you're going to have to try to handle conflict. And that's not to say ignore conflict or pretend like it doesn't exist,
Correct.
but you're going to have to find a way to handle it without killing each other. Some of these issues you're having might not be as big a deal as they seem to you. So, you know, always kind of take that into effect. Like, stop and ask yourself, calm down, take a deep breath, and say, is this really that big of a deal?
Right.
Is it really something worth blowing up? Or is this really something to fight about? Or are you just a victim of circumstance at this point?
Yeah, is it just being blown out of proportion? And just really think about that. Try to work through it in a healthy way. We can do a video about how we leveled up our communication if you guys want to see
Our
that.
communication habits is a topic for a different day. Tip number 5, the one where we kind of seem counterintuitive to everything we said before. You may realize throughout this that maybe your partner does a lot of things you really don't like. Maybe when you're forced to spend so much time with them, you really don't like them as much as you thought you do. And maybe those are real valid thoughts. And you'll have to really ask yourself, is this happening because is everything being forced on stress? Is this a temporary thing, or is this an issue you would have had to confront eventually anyway? A lot of relationships we saw ended. A lot of marriages ended in divorce in quarantine. And the important things to consider is that while there are a sizable number of those that were strong marriages that just they didn't know how to handle this situation and it fell apart, there is definitely another sizable portion of that where they were marriages that would have fallen apart anyway, that this situation just forced their hand. And I mean, obviously, there are cases of like, you know, if your significant other is an abuser, they are manipulative, they are doing legitimately bad things. Yes, where those obviously fall in this category because you're going to realize those behaviors much sooner. But it's also possible that you're just going to find out you're not as compatible as you thought you were. When that happens, don't give in to the sunk cost idea, or don't think you don't have an option. You may have to leave them. You can do it slowly. You can talk to your partner. Discuss this like reasonable human beings. Don't feel like shit has to hit the fan. Unless you are in a dangerous situation.
We definitely wanted to give you guys tips on how to maintain your relationship, but if you're listening to these tips and you feel like you've already tried these methods and you've done all that you can, at that point, it might just not be quarantine. Like, it could just be that you guys weren't as compatible as you thought, and now you're feeling the heaviness of that. If that is the case, definitely, you know, remove yourself from a situation that's no longer serving you. It was a time for change for everyone. So that wraps up our video for today.
We're not relationship experts. We're not therapists or anything like that. We're just a couple that went through this too, and we just kind of wanted to share what we know. If you have other tips, or if there are things that didn't work for you, did work for you, I mean, let us know. Tell us. Let everybody else know.
If you take advantage of these tips and you do rediscover your romance, let us know in the comments below. Let us know what you guys take from these tips. If you guys go on a date, tell us where you went on a date at.
Tell us what worked. Tell us what didn't work.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys in our next one.
Bye.
Bye.